Hello, and welcome to Tarot in the Stars for the transitioning week from Libra season to Scorpio season. I have pulled a oracle card from Rebecca Campbell, the Rose Oracle. I actually pulled this about an hour ago for myself, but it felt like a call. It felt really pertinent to share it with all my magical humans in community. So I was asking for a message for this week, what we need to know as we go into this week, and what will serve our highest good. Okay, and I got plant yourself here. Integration, embodiment, and grounded action. Invite your soul to come all the way in, from your knees to your nose to your cheeks to your toes. Fully embody your life. Drop the defensive walls. Let your soul land and occupy each and every cell. Anchor all parts of you into the here and the now. Life is here even when death is here. Birth isn't possible without it. And you came here to birth this world anew. Don't you remember? Fully commit to living this life. Put your 2 feet and your ancient soul wholly and completely in. This is the card of the ones who've committed to being the bridge between heaven and earth, the embodied mystics. They know that they don't need to denounce either heaven or earth. Rather, they are a weaver of the worlds, here to embody their soul more and more with each new day. Here to weave the sacred back into everyday life. This card is an invitation to commit more fully to your life as having a soul and a human experience. Fully committing to your life as a soul, having a human experience. To invite your soul to grow roots deep that reach so deep you can grow so tall. To commit to your humanity and your expansion all at once. The rose invites us to embrace all stages of life on earth, from the buds to the blooms, from the cutting back to the fruit. Her beauty and her sweet scent are an embodiment of heaven, a nectarous reward for being here. The rose reminds us to take a moment to properly enjoy the sweetness, and that heaven really can be a place on earth. And there's a soul inquiry question, and the question is, how can you commit more to your life? How can you commit more to your life? So I thought this was a beautiful card to come after the solar Libra eclipse that happened over the weekend, because many of us have been sort of shaken on some level through events either inside of us, awareness that has come through, challenges that have come through realization, or the events that are outside of us. And when we are in the midst of an eclipse portal, because there's always two. Eclipses always come in two. It's always a solar and a lunar. The solar happens first, that's the new moon, and 2 weeks later, we have the full moon. It's like whenever we have a moon cycle, whenever we have a new moon, every time 2 weeks later, there's a full moon. And during eclipse season, they just happen to also be eclipses. And when there is an eclipse, the energy is exaggerated. It can feel more intense. It can feel more potent, more powerful. And it's a major internal shifter, okay? Now, what is coming through for these next 2 weeks as we're in this portal is that we are moving through a transition. This is 100% a transitional week. One, because we just had a solar eclipse. So we just got sort of recalibrated. Whether you consciously had a recalibration and you chose to recalibrate yourself, whatever way that you did, or unconscious, not even aware of the recalibration that's happening, most definitely during an eclipse, we're going to have some sort of a recalibration as the moon crosses over the collective north node and south node. That's what an eclipse is. It's when the moon is passing and happens to land on the south node or the north node. So this eclipse happened on the south node, which means it was a clearing. And we've got the nodes where they are, Aries North Node and Libra South Node, for a total of 18 months. We've already gone through 3 of those months, so we have 15 months with these themes that are coming up around fully being ourselves, fully expressing ourselves, learning to stand in our power, learning to have difficult conversations, learning to choose ourselves first, and balancing that with healthy relationships. That means that relationships that we're unserving have a clearing component during eclipse season. And this could also be internal relationships. Like some of us are going through a deep awareness of our shadow parts, and shadow energy can come up during eclipse season. And we can see what serves us and what doesn't, what needs to be healed, what's healthy, what we want to hold on to, and what just does it no longer belongs in our auric field, in our atmosphere, in the choices that we make and the thoughts that we have. So this eclipse, which is a new moon, normally is about new beginnings, now also comes with endings because it's on the south node. So whatever exits during this time is truly for your highest and best, that is personal, that's connected to your soul's evolution, and the path that your soul is on. That means that there could be a lot of subconscious things that are coming up, possibly in your dream world, while you're asleep, having these healings occur. It could be during your waking state. It could be during conversations, challenging conversations with others. But whatever it is, if it is out of alignment, we are going to see it and have an opportunity to allow it to clear and pass so that we can be recalibrated to balance, because that's what Libra energy at its highest is. It's this internal equanimity, so that while the world shifts and changes and goes through that, I'm thinking of the tarot card. What is that tarot card? It's not the world. It's the, hold on, I have to think in my brain. Okay, I found it in the mind realm. It's the Wheel of Fortune. And I'm going to share my screen and share the image of the Wheel of Fortune, which is here on this left side. And wow, I went to Biddy Tarot and it says upright, good luck, karma, life cycles, destiny, and a turning point. And that's really what we're talking about when we talk about the eclipses. And the Wheel of Fortune is very connected to the eclipses. So it says the Wheel of Fortune card shows a giant wheel with 3 figures on the outer edges. 4 Hebrew letters. YHVH, Yod, He, Vow, and He, the unpronounceable name of God. I probably pronounced that wrong. Are inscribed on the wheel's face. There are also the letters Torah, thought to be a version of the word Torah, meaning law, or tarot, or even rota, which is Latin for wheel. The middle wheel has the alchemical symbols for mercury, sulfur, water, and salt, the building blocks of life and the 4 elements. and represents formative power. On the outer circle is a snake, the Egyptian god Typhon, the god of evil, descending on the left side. The snake also represents the life force plunging into the material world. On the right side arises the Anubis, the Egyptian god of the dead, who welcomes souls to the underworld. And on top of the wheel sits the Sphinx, representing knowledge and strength. In the corners of the Wheel of Fortune card are four winged creatures, each associated with the four fixed signs of the zodiac. The four fixed signs of the zodiac. The angel is Aquarius, the eagle is Scorpio, the lion is Leo, and the bull is Taurus. And their wings signify stability amidst movement and change. And each holds the Torah, representing wisdom. Okay, and this is based on the Rider-Waite deck. I'm just going to read a little bit more. The Wheel of Fortune reminds you that the wheel is always turning and life is in a state of constant change. If you're going through a difficult time, rest assured it will get better from here. Good luck and good fortune will make their return in time. Similarly, if things are going well, know this too will change and life may return to normal soon. This cycle shows why it is so important to cherish the blissful moments in your life and make the most of them while they are within reach, because in a flash, they could be gone. It's also known as the Wheel of Karma and represents what goes around comes around. Okay, I'm going to unshare my screen. So yeah, when we're talking about the eclipses, most astrologers will tell you that this is where we experience fated events and the wheels of change are in the midst. So whatever you're going through, know that there is a ability to be in a surrender. And we talked a lot about that on the eclipse workshop. This surrender of what is no longer meant to be. And things are always in motion. The only constant is change. Now, when I was reading that card, I noticed that part of the fixed elements that are on that tarot card is Scorpio. And we're about to transition into Scorpio season on Monday, next week. So this is a transitioning week. This is a transitioning time. And for me, I would say anytime there's a transition, like when the sun goes into a new constellation, or when any planet transitions from one constellation to another, anytime there's a transition from a planet moving to another space that changes the archetypal energy, it is a great moment to really ground into yourself. And like this first card that I pulled, plant yourself here, integration, embodiment, and grounded action. Invite your soul to come all the way in. Because it's really in the practices that we do that connect us to our soul that keeps us on stable ground as the world continues to change outside of us. So let me pull up the chart for this moment and talk about this week. Okay, here we go. So there's a couple of pretty big transiting energies this week. I'm just going to talk through them and then leave this Monday's chart up for a little bit. Okay, so on the 17th, which is Tuesday, we have Pluto squaring the moon. On Wednesday, we have the moon squaring Venus, and we also have a magical aspect called a Cazimi, which is when the sun and Mercury come together. On the 19th, we have the moon square Neptune, and this is really when the Cazimi comes into its exact alignment. On the 20th, we have got Pluto squaring Mercury, so that's going to be on Thursday. On the 21st, we've got the sun squaring Pluto, and we also have Venus trining Jupiter. Now let me make sure I'm giving you the correct dates. Okay, so the 21st is actually a Saturday. That means Friday is going to be the Pluto square Mercury. Okay, now let me open the chart a little bigger and talk about what is going on. So there is a broken record theme of the South Node Libra, the eclipse that just happened, and now the energies that are happening this week. That's part of what eclipses are doing is they're giving us a lot of space to be able to conjure an understanding of what wants to be shifted in our lives that's going to be in alignment for our soul's evolution and for our soul's path. So this week we have on Monday, Mercury is at 20 degrees in Libra. We've got the sun at 22 degrees in Libra, South Node at 24 degrees. So all of these aspects are very, very close together. And on Wednesday, we're going to have Mercury at 22 degrees, which is this Cazimi. Now, many astrologers talk about the Cazimi when Mercury joins the sun as this moment where we can use it as a new moon. We can use it as setting really profound, it doesn't have to be profound, but setting intentions that are in alignment, bringing in and calling in and focusing on and using the power of your mind to bring forth the kind of experience you want to have. Okay. Now, we've got such interesting energy with what is going on between Pluto, what is happening with the moon, and also what is happening with Venus. Now, if you look down here at Venus, she has recently stepped into Virgo. And when we're talking about Virgo, we're talking about your day to day activities, your rituals or your routine. I talked about that in last week's Tarot in the Stars, and getting back to a practice that is going to really serve you and keep you balanced, keep you connected to yourself as things externally change, and how this is a helpful aspect during these two eclipses. It's like such a perfect shift. Venus is supporting this shift into um, the the eclipse so much because we have an energy where we can get really grounded, where we can do what the rose card says, which is plant yourself here and honor your life, honor what your soul desires, and honor the kind of practical activities that need to happen, that want to happen in order to keep you feeling balanced in your body and healthy. And healthy is, it can be, for me, it's like almost a trigger word. Growing up in a time like in the 80s and 90s where healthy meant something totally dysfunctional. At least in my household, healthy meant fat free. It meant like actual fake food that was low calorie, that was, this guise of being healthy. And as I got older, I learned that most of what I was consuming was fake, like this fake food that was really harmful for my body. Virgo is also the food. It's like, what are you eating? What are you putting into yourself every single day? And now, as I'm older, I understand that what is natural from the earth and doesn't have added chemicals, added toxins, added sugars, added this and that that make it seemingly healthy, but actually add to its toxification. So when I see Venus go into Virgo, Virgo is this purity. It's stripping away that chemical residue and stripping away what's fake, stripping away what's false, stripping away what society says is healthy or good, and like finding what is this pure nature that is within your personal soul desires that helps you feel connected to yourself and helps you use discernment for what's fake or what's false. So we're really talking about Venus and Virgo taking us into our nature, taking us deeper into ourselves, taking us into what's real, what's real. And it is opposing Saturn right now. And Saturn is the responsibility one must step into in order to carry out its soul needs, its dharma, its purpose. Okay. So there is this energy between Venus and Saturn. Also, last week I talked about Black Moon Lilith, the part of our self that has been um, suppressed, ignored, disregarded. And again, it's also Black Moon Lilith is also in Virgo. So there is this welcoming in what is pure and true for us every day, and what may be an illusion or escaping or taking us outside of ourselves. And with this square to Saturn, it could look like, where are we not showing up for our daily responsibilities that we know are good for us, we know will serve us, we know will help keep us balanced and connected to ourselves? And for me, that's I told you last week I would do 10 days of the same kriya, of the spinal awakening kriya. I've been doing it every morning, and I'm noticing, there's some days I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to fucking do this kriya. I don't want to do this. I just want to lay in bed for another 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is. And sticking to that responsibility, Saturn, the discernment of knowing, what is really good for me, healthy for my soul, is to do that practice. Okay. Now, whatever is your practice is your practice. It's like it is, you're the only one who knows what's the best for you. And this astrology is helping us. It's like giving us a little extra support, a little extra fortitude to step into the things that we need to do that are going to keep us feeling sane, because the world is such a mess right now. There's so much pain going on, and there's so much deeper truth that's being revealed with these Pluto aspects. Pluto moving through the last degree of Capricorn. This is like a degree of wisdom, but it's also a degree of letting go. It's a closing degree. We are closing the chapter on something, while at the same time the South Node is in Libra, and we are closing a chapter on those Libra themes. Any imbalance in our inner relationship with ourself and our outer relationship with the world. Okay, so what could also come up with this Sun and Mercury Cazimi on Wednesday, when the Sun and Mercury are conjunct in Libra, is a deeper conversation, a conversation around, sometimes we hold information in, or we kind of push down what's important. And with this astrology, there is a deep sort of soul excavation, especially when we're talking about Pluto. We're going to have Pluto square the moon. We're going to have the sun squaring Pluto later in the week. And this is a deeper excavation on what's true. It's like, let me get to the bottom of the truth. Maybe my shadows are coming up so that I can understand myself and relate to myself. Libra, relate to myself deeper than I've ever related to myself before. And then through that deeper understanding of myself, I can go out and have these deeper conversations with others. Maybe there's something that I need to understand in a relationship that I'm in. That could be a friendship, it could be with a coworker, it could be with a family member, where there could be conversations that really want to be had this week with the spotlight on Mercury, the planet of communication, the planet of conversation and thinking. So I'm getting when I really sat with this week and I thought, what really is this week offering? And it's offering transition. It's the energy of recalibrating into what arrived through the eclipse, through that solar eclipse on Saturday. What information came through that you can now integrate in the most loving way possible into this next chapter in your life? We started something new. We also had an opening to let go of what was no longer serving. And in 2 weeks, at the end of October, right before Halloween, we're going to have that full moon in Taurus. And that's going to close the eclipses. So we have 2 more weeks of being in it, of being in this space together. And I really see it as a healing, a deeply healing space for all. And we've been preparing for this without even realizing it. Learning about ourselves more deeply with the help of Pluto, healing our wounds with the help of Chiron and Aries, healing wounds around simply being afraid to be our full selves, to speak up, to use our voice, to be seen. Those are Aries, to be seen, to be the leader, of your life, and to really step into the the fire. The element of fire is passion that ignites our soul and keeps us feeling alive and keeps us on our path, even when we get thrown off our path, even when something is shocking or surprising, like the news that came through last week, where we can really reach deep into ourselves, into our purpose, into our why, and remember why we're here, why we're showing up, and what we chose to come here on this earth plane in this exact time, because I believe there's no mistakes. I believe that we chose to come here at this moment so that we could help move humanity forward through truth that first gets revealed internally, that we first understand inside of ourselves, and then being proactive in our lives so that we can be aligned with our truth. And Libra is about love. Libra ruled by Venus, and this Taurus lunar eclipse also ruled by Venus. What is our deepest truth around love? The love we have for ourselves, the love we have for each other, the love we have for humanity. Now, on Monday, we are going to have the sun shifting into Scorpio season. And that's 30 days of continued connection with our soul. And I love to use Scorpio season as an exploration of our shadow, like an illumination into what we might not always want to look at, but wants to be looked at. There's a quote I'm thinking Rumi said, anything felt, no, it's Joseph Campbell. Anything felt all the way through is bliss. And so there's a transition moment happening now where we can find our center, where we can do what we need to do to love ourselves so deeply that when we venture even deeper into the scary season, the Halloween season, we can actually use it as a rebalancing of the love that we can bring to all of the parts of ourselves, the messy parts, the ugly parts, the embarrassing parts, whatever is here for us, with those beautiful Libra parts. Because Libra really is the beauty, the love, the lightness. I don't want to go under the surface. Libra does not want conflict. Libra does not want to look under the rug. But anything that's been put under the rug, sooner or later, it's coming out, you know? So we can be open-hearted walls down and loving, just like the message that came through the oracle card this morning. All right, so I'm going to pull one more card and send you on your way to have the most beautiful, compassionate, loving, heart-centered week ever. Two cards popped out of the deck while I was shuffling. The first one is the Knight of Wands, and the second one is the Knight of Cups reversed. So we've got Knight energy. The Knight asks you about having an open perception, like turning on your mind, connect to your creative mind, connect to your to what wants to come through, what wants to grow. Knight of Wands is asking, what is this story? What is this story that you are living in, or what is this story that you are telling yourself around your passion-filled, illuminated life path? Whenever I think of wands, I think about, like I said a couple minutes ago, the fire element. Fire ignites our soul and shows us what's the next step. It like lights us up. It gets us excited. Fire is also anger. Fire can show us what we really care about. Fire can also be wild. It can burn down and destruct everything in its path. Fire can also be a flame that guides our way in the night. So what's the story that you want to identify with right now about where you're at in this chapter of your life, like where you're at in the journey of your life? Are you, and there's no right or wrong. Are you identifying with the I'm going to burn it down and start again? Are you identifying with being led by a light? And if so, what's that light? What is the light that's carrying you through this time? What do you believe in? What do you have faith in? That's also fire. It's also spirit. You know, the spirit brings energy and it keeps things moving. Now, what is being released as a reversal is the Knight of Cups. Now, just so you know, night energy is like, we are learning a lesson, okay? We haven't, if it was a queen or a king or an ace, we would have completed this story or this lesson that we're in. But when we're talking pages and nights, it's like we are learning something right now. We are learning something about ourselves. We are learning something about our position in life, and we're learning something about others and the collective, something about the world. So this reverse Knight of Cups. Cups is about emotions. It's about the emotional realm. And when I look really closely at this image, like you can see someone sitting, there's a cup on his head, and he's like, woe is me. Ah, I don't know what direction to go because the emotions are so strong. And there's a lot of heaviness in this, but he's able to balance a cup. So, you know, that's impressive while you're, you know, balancing your emotions. But when we're talking about Knight of Cups and this sort of being taken by the emotional world. Now, it's so healthy and powerful to allow yourself to feel emotions, right? But there is a difference between the feeling and the wallowing. So if you're hearing this and you know this message is for you and there's been some wallowing going on, brush your fucking shoulders off, shake your body out, sing a song, scream if you need to, bring the fire element in, bring the anger in. Because when we have too much water for too long, it's like a wet blanket and we don't allow the actual emotion. Emotion is from the root emote, and the E stands for energy, and mote is to move. That's the etymology of emotion, to move energy. So we don't want to sit, wallow, sad. His physiology is like, I'm rounded and I'm sad. We want to straighten our freaking spine up, We want to brush our shoulders off. We want to shake out what we want to move through, and then get back into that path of following the light, following the faith, following spirit, following the movement of energy. This is a creative force, and wands is a creative force. All right, so that is the message. Should I read one more? One more. I just pulled an oracle card. I'm like, what? I need to. All right, I'm just gonna read one final message, okay? Just because I I don't know why I pulled it. Spirit had me pull it, and it's really beautiful. So it's called the Sacred Union, and it is from a different Rebecca Campbell deck. Okay, it really wants to happen. It wants to happen, so it's happening. The Sacred Union. Beautiful. Libran. Couldn't that, like, thank you, Great Spirit, the most Libran energy ever. So this is what this week is bringing us. This is the outcome of this week. Relationships are how we grow. They cradle and stretch us through connection and division, love and hurt, compassion and separation. They invite us to return again and again to the most important relationship we will ever have, the one with ourself. The sacred union that's been waiting within. Ancient mystery teachings whisper secrets of the sacred unions. Heros gamos means sacred marriage. In early Christian mysticism and the Kabbalah, so our second Jewish reference today, sexual alchemy in ancient Egyptian teachings, second Egyptian reference today, the Yab Yum, which means father mother in Tibetan Buddhism. We are familiar with mystic couples such as Isis and Osiris, but we each have the sacred masculine and feminine within. And sacred union through external relationship is always an invitation to deepen the union within. Every relationship can be seen as an invitation to deepen connection with the beloved within. Even our most challenging relationships, especially our most challenging relationships. The sacred union isn't just between you and another, it's returning to yourself. And when we return to ourselves, we also return to humanity as a whole. Maybe you're being invited to grow through relationships right now. Perhaps you feel like you're being tested, or you're being stretched, or you find yourself longing for something external. This is an invitation to deepen the connection within, to embrace yourself fully and treat yourself like the most precious person on the planet. The more embraced you feel, the easier it is to embrace others. And the soul inquiry question is, how can you embrace yourself more? So much about coming home to ourselves this week. So this week, let's call it coming home to ourselves. I love you so much, and I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much for listening to this whole thing if you're still here. I love seeing your comments. They like light me up. They give me life. It is the absolute best. And reminder, you can always share on social media when you come to class, when you watch a recording, share it with your friends, share it with the people in your world, because if it's serving you, most likely it will be serving others in your life. And it also supports me and it supports our community, so we can keep everything going and moving, keep the conversation going. And yeah, so have the best week ever, and sending you tons of love.